After years of collaboration, Moscow now plays a crucial role in strengthening Caracas's defenses. A newly verified video by the Army Recognition Group shows Russian-built missile systems deployed near the Venezuelan capital. The system can target U.S. fighter jets as well as Tomahawk cruise missiles. Experts say this marks a significant upgrade to Venezuela's defenses and poses a very real challenge for U.S. air power in the region.
Justicia que ha puesto los puntos sobre las IE.
A huge number of Venezuelan cadets and officers have trained in Russia, and many Russian officers have come to Venezuela. This cooperation has been calm, steady, and very fruitful, and it will continue.
Vale la pena hablar y entenderse.
Now, in typical Russian fashion, the Kremlin is urging calm, all the while providing defense systems to Caracas. Russia's TASS news agency reported Moscow's call for restraint in U.S.-Venezuela relations, even as militaries of both nations appear to be edging closer and closer to a confrontation. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, in his weekly address on Monday, praised the UN Human Rights Commissioner for condemning recent U.S. airstrikes in South America. The UN official has labeled the strikes carried out on alleged drug traffickers as unacceptable and a breach of international law.
The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, has said that airstrikes by the United States of America on boats in the Caribbean and in the Pacific violate international human rights law. These attacks and their mounting human cost are unacceptable.
U.S. military carried out a new strike on a suspected drug boat in the Caribbean, killing at least 3 people. It is the 15th strike since early September. Virginia Democratic Senator Mark Warner, who co-chairs the Senate Intelligence Committee, says Democrats were barred from a Pentagon briefing last week. The White House says the classified documents on the strikes have been made available. So I want to play a little bit of what Senator Warner had to say on Face the Nation.
There were no classified documents made available to the Gang of 8 members until after a partisan briefing was made to Republicans only. That is not the way our system is supposed to work. If you want to put Americans in harm's way, it needs to be done on a bipartisan basis. My Republican colleagues, many of them afterwards said, oh yeah, that was not really good. Well, I wish they would have got up and walked out of the damn room, because everyone knows partisanship should not be involved in these national security matters, particularly when we're putting our soldiers and sailors in harm's way.
CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata has been following the latest for us, and he joins us from Washington. So, Charlie, what do we know about these latest strikes and the justification?
Well, Vlad, you can hear the frustration among politicians. They want to know more intelligence of where this material is coming from, who's on the boats, where it's headed, and the justification for using, lethal force, military force against them. It's important to point out this one happened, as you said, in the Caribbean, not what we've seen for the past couple weeks where they really were focusing on the Eastern Pacific. But in posting the announcement and that video, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said these narco-terrorists are bringing drugs to our shores to poison Americans at home, and they will not succeed. We have to point out that in her 60 Minutes interview with President Trump, Nora asked if maybe this wasn't just about the drug cartels, but focusing on the president of Venezuela himself.
Is it about stopping narcotics, or is this about getting rid of President Maduro?
No, this is about many things. This is a country that allowed their prisons to be emptied into our country. To me, that would be almost number one, because we have other countries. Mexico has been very bad to us in terms of drugs, okay? Very bad. We have a closed border right now. You probably noticed that for 5 months in a row, they have zero, think of this, zero people coming into our country through our southern border.
On Venezuela in particular, are Maduro's days as president numbered?
I would say, yeah. I think so, yeah.
So there you have it. The president was also commenting about, he made comments about Nigeria, which we've heard before, and he said that he has ordered the Pentagon, or the Department of Defense or Department of War, to put together a package for military activity or in that region. Pete Hegseth said, yes, sir, we were able to do this because the point he's trying to make is that, in his words, there's been a mass slaughter of Christians in Nigeria, and Nigeria isn't doing enough to stop it.
Yeah, but Charlie, you and I both know, having been foreign correspondents, and I was based in Nigeria for almost 3 years, that that violence that has been perpetrated, mostly in the northeastern part of the country, has been perpetrated by an Islamist terrorist group, Boko Haram. That group has actually not only killed Christians, they actually killed Muslims too. They kidnapped schoolgirls in the dead of night, never to be seen again by their family members. And there are larger issues, which I don't know if the administration cares to go to understand the nuances. Nigeria, a country being comprised of almost, there's some semantics, but almost an equal number of Christians and Muslims in the north and Christians in the south. Presidents that change, like every 4 years, a president is either Christian or a Muslim. There's so much nuance here. It's not simply Christians are being slaughtered. So what kind of military action would Pete Hegseth engage with? And also we should point out that the president of Nigeria has said, hey, we welcome any help that you can give us to try and defeat Boko Haram.
Yes, that's exactly right. They didn't take lightly the implications that President Trump was putting forward, as if the government was somehow allowing this or enabling this to happen, maybe even supporting it was happening. In terms of what military capacity they have there, obviously drone strikes can strike anywhere on the planet at any given time. And as you mentioned, the United States has been active, mostly special operations forces, because there is a dynamic and robust counterterrorism operation that is forever working, mostly out of Djibouti, but other places where that is within reach. Now, AFRICOM itself, which is the African Command, that's actually based in Germany, so they don't have a whole ton of military hardware and resources. If they were to seriously target Nigeria, that would take multiple steps and a lot of military equipment to get out there.
Oh, and by the way, Nigeria is a major supply of oil to the United States, which people may not realize. Charlie D'Agata, always good to have.
In recent years, the relationship between Russia and the United States has once again moved into a phase of strategic tension. But what makes the current situation notable is the way Russia has chosen to respond. It has not relied on dramatic statements or loud displays of force. Instead, Russia has taken measured, deliberate steps that reflect long-term planning and strategic clarity. One of those steps now draws the world's attention to Latin America, specifically to Venezuela. A region long regarded as part of America's exclusive sphere of influence has now become the setting for a different balance of power. And Russia enters this setting not with haste, but with precision. Venezuela is not a random choice. The relationship between Moscow and Caracas extends back decades, including cooperation in energy, defense, and economic development. Venezuela holds a strategic position in the Caribbean, near major sea routes, and not far from the southeastern coastline of the United States. At the same time, Venezuela has experienced heavy economic and political pressure from Washington. This situation naturally pushed Venezuela to seek partners capable of providing not only economic support, but also reliable strategic cooperation. For Russia, this partnership is not transactional. It is built on respect for national sovereignty and a shared interest in shaping a more balanced international order. Global attention has intensified as discussions continue about deploying the Oreshnik Integrated Command System in Venezuela. This system is not simply a piece of military equipment. It functions as a strategic command hub, linking satellite information, radar networks, process targeting data, and operational control into a single coordinated center. If deployed, Venezuela would gain the ability to monitor its surrounding region more effectively, respond to threats faster, and coordinate its defense with significantly higher precision. This is where the character of Russian cooperation becomes clear. Russia does not merely provide equipment, it provides capability. It strengthens operational competence. It invests in autonomy, not dependency. This is what makes the partnership transformative rather than superficial. Alongside Oreshnik, there is also the discussion of enhancing long-range operational capacity with the Caliber cruise missile system. The significance of Caliber is not simply its technical performance. It represents a form of credible deterrence, a reminder that national sovereignty is something that can be protected both politically and practically. This does not imply aggression, it implies balance. When NATO has moved closer to Russia's borders, Russia demonstrates that it also has the ability to place strategic capabilities in areas sensitive to the United States. This is not escalation, it is a restoration of equilibrium. Russia's actions in Venezuela are not impulsive. They reflect a consistent strategic approach to maintain balance in global dynamics without unnecessary confrontation. Stability does not come from one side dominating the other. It comes from measured counterweight. Russia's strength here lies not in volume, but in clarity. It moves when necessary. It builds where cooperation is respected. And it acts with the awareness that real influence does not need theatrics, only results. This is why, even without loud publicity, the impact of this development is widely recognized. For Venezuela, this cooperation offers tangible benefits. Strengthening its command and surveillance capabilities enhances national sovereignty and reinforces its role in regional politics. Venezuela is no longer positioned only as a state under pressure. It now holds leverage, the ability to negotiate, decide, and shape its strategic environment. And in international politics, the ability to determine one's own direction is one of the truest forms of power. All of this reveals a pattern that defines Russia's current approach. Russia does not move quickly for the sake of making noise. It moves deliberately to create structure. It chooses partnerships based on alignment of interests, not intimidation. And it places influence exactly where it matters, at exactly the moment it is required. While some states attempt to display strength through constant pressure, Russia shows strength through balance. While others speak loudly about global leadership, Russia demonstrates it with concrete steps. And in an evolving world, the ability to act with patience, precision, and strategic calm remains one of the most respected forms of power. Russia continues to show that it is not only seen, it is taken seriously. This content is created solely for educational and
turn to Russia, where President Vladimir Putin is turning up the heat. He's flexing his military muscle. In the last few days, Russia has unveiled 3 weapons, back to back, like they're on a deadline. First, Russia tested a cruise missile. It was powered by a nuclear reactor and designed to loiter in the air for days. The second test was an underwater weapon. It can trigger a tsunami at sea. And the third and the latest one is a new submarine. Russia unveiled it this week. Reports say the submarine is capable of launching a nuclear torpedo. And you know what these tests have in common? Each of these systems is nuclear capable. Russia is not just modernizing its arsenal, it is flexing it. And the idea is quite clear: to send a message to US President Donald Trump. In fact, look at their latest weapon. It's also their most lethal one. It is called the Khabarovsk. It's a new submarine. It is nuclear powered and it is equipped with a deadly weapon. This submarine can fire a nuclear torpedo, specifically the Poseidon. Russia recently tested this weapon too, the Poseidon. It's not a missile, it's an underwater drone. It is nuclear powered and nuclear armed. Experts are calling it a super weapon because it can travel at speeds of up to 100 knots. That's around 185 kilometers per hour underwater. The Poseidon is designed to evade all known defenses, and it does not explode on impact. It triggers something far more destructive, a radioactive tsunami, something that is powerful enough to devastate an entire coastline.
We conducted another test of yet another promising system, the Poseidon underwater unmanned vehicle, which is also equipped with a nuclear power unit. It is 100 times smaller than the nuclear reactor on a submarine, yet the power output of Poseidon significantly exceeds that of even our most advanced intercontinental range missile, SARMAT. There is nothing like SARMAT in the world. We have not deployed it yet, but it will be deployed soon. However, Poseidon significantly surpasses SARMAT in power.
Now, Russia has built and launched a submarine that is specifically designed for the Poseidon. This comes just days after another missile test, the Pt16. NATO members call it Skyfall. The name comes from a bird, the storm petrel. In Russian folklore, it is seen as a sign of an approaching storm. The missile had been under development for years. Russia tested it recently. Experts have described it, and I'm quoting, as a tiny flying Chernobyl. That's because it runs on nuclear power. It can fly for much longer than conventional missiles. The Kremlin says it can fly for days and even evade missile defense systems. Russia released a video after this test. It shows President Putin discussing the test with Russian generals.
How many thousands of kilometers did it cover? 14,000. And how long did it stay airborne? About 15 hours. And that's not the limit. No, it's not. Valery Alexievich, we'll need to determine what this is and what class of weapon this new system belongs to. We need to determine its possible uses and begin preparing the infrastructure for deploying this weapon within our armed forces. Roger that.
That message from Putin could have a deeper meaning. Observers say it's not just about the weapons, it's about signaling. Putin is sending a message to the West, specifically to the United States and their President Donald Trump. These tests can be linked to the dialogue on Ukraine and the breakdown of talks between the US and Russia. Remember, Trump and Putin were supposed to meet in Budapest in the first half of October. The meeting was supposed to be held to hash out a peace deal, but the Americans called it off. Apparently, Russia made some tough demands and the US found it unreasonable, so the talks were called off. Now, by conducting these weapons tests, Putin may be trying to push Trump back to the negotiating table, not from a position of weakness, but from a position of strength. Russia is reminding the world that it is a nuclear power and it wants its demands to be taken seriously, not just on Ukraine, but on other issues as well. Hence the back-to-back tests. So far, this plan has not worked. The US has responded sharply to Russia's tests. Trump has made a shocking move. He has ordered his Department of War to start nuclear testing of its own. Trump says, Other countries are testing nukes, so the US should do the same on a quote-unquote equal basis.
Are you talking about literally resuming underground nuclear detonation tests?
You'll find out very soon, but we're going to do some testing. Yeah, other countries do it. If they're going to do it, we're going to do it.
Okay, you can't clarify whether you will resume.
I'm not going to say yet. I mean, I know exactly what we're doing, where we're doing it, but other countries are doing it, and if other countries do it, we do it.
For over 25 years now, no nuclear power has detonated a bomb. No country has tested nuclear bombs except for North Korea. But this could change. With Russia ramping up its arsenal and the US preparing to follow suit, these two countries have the world's biggest nuclear stockpiles. A nuclear race between them only means more bad news.
Want the facts?
The latest developments.
In updates that came just a short while back, Russia may be taking the first steps towards resuming nuclear tests. Just days after US President Donald Trump said America could do the same, the Russian president has ordered top officials reportedly to draft proposals on possible nuclear weapons testing, saying Russia has always abided by international agreements, but if the US or any other nuclear power breaks that rule, Russia would follow suit. In fact, Putin has also instructed the Foreign Ministry, Defense Ministry, Security Services, other civil agencies of Russia to gather information, analyze it at the Security Council, and present proposals for starting preparations at Russia's Novaya Zemlya Arctic test site, which could host nuclear tests at short notice.
Trump recently literally declared that the U.S. is resuming nuclear weapons testing. Members of Parliament are asking questions and are generally concerned about the situation because it's clear where this could lead the world as a whole. Therefore, based on what you said 2 years ago, if the U.S. resumes nuclear weapons testing, Russia has every right to do the same.
Yes, indeed. This is a serious matter. Let's listen to our colleagues. The floor goes to the Minister of Defense.
These actions clearly demonstrate Washington's active buildup of strategic offensive weapons. First, the White House has consistently withdrawn from the long-standing series of arms reduction treaties.
Remember, Russia last tested a nuclear weapon in 1990. The United States last tested in 1992, China and France in 1996, India in 1998. But post-Soviet Russia, inheriting the Soviet arsenal, has never tested nuclear weapons. Just a day ago, Putin signaled ushering in of a new age of nuclear super weapons. Weapons designed to dominate the 21st century and to ensure strategic parity with the US and its allies. Speaking at a ceremony honoring the engineers and developers behind these weapons, Putin had said Russia is not threatening anyone, framing these advances as part of the global nuclear balance and not aggression. What are these weapons in question, really? Burevestnik, a nuclear-powered cruise missile with virtually unlimited range, and Poseidon, a nuclear-powered underwater drone capable of massive destruction, with some reports claiming it can trigger a radioactive tsunami. Putin also revealed next-generation projects, including a supersonic missile using Burevestnik's nuclear engine.
Которого вы добились, имеет без преувеличения.
The result you have achieved is without exaggeration of historic significance for our nation, ensuring security and strategic parity for decades to come. One could confidently say for the entire 21st century.
Наша страна никому не угрожает. Россия, как и все другие,
our country poses no threat to anyone. Like all other nuclear powers, Russia is developing its nuclear and strategic capabilities. Everything we are discussing now is part of long-announced plans. All our objectives for creating advanced weapon systems, developing the defense systems, and equipping the Russian army and navy with modern hardware and weaponry are being fulfilled.
армии и флота России с современной техникой и вооружениями выполняются.
Let's just take a look at the super weapons that Putin is talking about. Just last week, the testing of the Burevestnik nuclear-powered missile was announced. It is said to have demonstrated an unmatched range. Russian media called it an unlimited range cruise missile. It is reportedly based on breakthroughs in nuclear reactor technology that allow a high degree of miniaturization and quick attainment of operational power. Putin has praised the engineers behind the achievement. During a meeting with injured Russian soldiers at a military hospital, Putin said that the Burevestnik's reactor is comparable in output with the reactor of a nuclear-propelled submarine, but it's 1,000 times smaller. During its test, the Burevestnik missile, according to the Russian military, traveled more than 14,000 kilometers and remained airborne for about 15 hours. While announcing more details about the Burevestnik yesterday, Putin also exposed the NATO in a way for spying on the Russian test of the missile, claiming that the foreign military experts had the opportunity to observe and verify the capabilities of the Russian super missile. Let them take a look, quote unquote, is what he said. Listen to this.
По дальности полета буревестник, как известно, превзошел все известные в мире ракетные системы.
In terms of flight range, the Burevestnik, as is known, surpassed all known missile systems. It has high target accuracy, which it confidently achieves at a pre-calculated time. I think foreign specialists were able to verify this as well, since a NATO ship was constantly present in the area and during the testing of the Burevestnik on October 21. We did not interfere with its work. Let them watch.
Разведывательный корабль. Мы не мешали его работе.
The Burevestnik gives Russia unmatched global strike capabilities. But it's not the only Russian super weapon. Shortly after the testing of Burevestnik, the test of another new weapon, the Poseidon, was announced. The Poseidon system has been described as an advanced nuclear torpedo that is understood to use the same technology as the Burevestnik for propulsion. And he added that the Poseidon's reactor is miniaturized to a lesser degree than the Burevestnik's, being roughly 100 times smaller than a regular submarine reactor. And according to the state news agency, the Poseidon can operate at depths of more than 1 kilometer and travel at speeds of up to 70 knots while remaining undetectable. First tested in 2018, it's capable of carrying a nuclear warhead of up to 2 megatons. Following the military operations in Ukraine, Russian commentators have consistently issued threats against the West, claiming that the Poseidon torpedoes can cause radioactive tsunamis reaching heights of up to 1,000 feet. While military experts dismiss these claims, they say that the Poseidon torpedoes could potentially devastate the coastal cities of enemy nations. Once released from the submarine, the Poseidon torpedo operates like a drone, basically, allowing it to be remotely guided to its targets.
Наконец у России появляются и крылатые ракеты неограниченной дальности.
Russia is now finally getting both the Burevestnik cruise missile with unlimited range and the Poseidon unnamed underwater vehicle with nuclear power units. All our plans are being fulfilled thanks to people like you and your colleagues.
Таким людям, как вы, вашим коллегам.
Early this month, Russia also launched a new nuclear submarine designed specifically to carry Poseidon drones. And if you thought that was it, there was more. Russia's next generation projects are already underway, including a supersonic missile using Burevestnik's nuclear engine technology. And with these developments and the possibility of resumed nuclear tests, Putin is basically sending out a loud and clear message to the world. Russia's super weapons are not just for showing, they are ready for a new age of arms race. To stay up to